Yeah, kind of concerning.
Um, I'm like, okay, I can, I'll cope. I'll cope. Um, Wednesday comes along, and my partner basically just turns around to me after she comes back home from work to come and see me to drop off some deep heat. Just goes, yeah, you really need to go to hospital. This is. She goes, I'm really worried. I'm like, okay.
Mhm.
So everybody's telling me this is from what all the symptoms I've got and stuff like that. They were really worried that it could be something to do with my heart.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Yeah.
So I go to A&E at about 9 o'clock at night.
Still there at 3
uh,
a.m.?
I was there until 12 the
Oh.
next morning. 12 afternoon.
Jeez.
Oh.
14 hours in
Ooh.
A&E.
Was that the wait and triage?
The triage and my initial assessment by a nurse, where my bloods got taken, was about 2 hours. To see a doctor, it took another 8 to 9 hours.
The current state of our NHS, folks.
Yes.
Mm.
But thankfully, I got some good news. My blood test came back with none of the markers that something had happened with my heart. And basically, I've pulled my pectoral muscle really badly.
What were you doing?
I sneezed really violently on Monday.
My goodness.
Oh, dear. Well, you know, I know somebody who actually broke his rib sneezing.
Mm.
And it wasn't from the sheer concussive force of the sneeze that made him break his rib. No. He was walking on the street, sneezed, slipped, his foot went out from underneath him, and to his right or left was a stone fountain. He landed on the stone fountain ribs first and fell headfirst into the stone fountain.
My
So broke his ribs that way. So, yeah.
Sneezes are dangerous, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I've found out how to, every time I've had a major injury, especially over the last, I don't know, 8-9 years, I've done it to myself.
That sounds like every person I know.
Yeah, you know, I've done my
Mark.
I've pulled my pectoral muscle. I've teared my rotationary cuff. Because, you know, I thought I was a lot younger than I am.
Yeah, I've been there.
I fell up some stairs.
Fell up. I know, that always makes me laugh.
And I fell up some stairs and ended up ripping some of the tendons in my knee.
Hey Liz, we're having a really nice conversation here. Fancy weighing in? Self-inflicted injuries, go. Here's Chris. Hello,
Chris.
Oh.
I wonder if Chris will be able to help me.
Oh.
I mean, he is playing Dr. Sot.
Is there any hope for Dave, since he seems perfectly able to injure himself at a moment's notice?
Hey, no, keeps me employed. So launching Forge now.
No problem. Well, yeah. Chris has joined us. Liz needs to wake up a little bit, that's fine. Whilst folks are joining the game then, I will turn off the plinky plunk. And I will turn off the ship rumble and take us to our intro video, and we will be back in a couple of moments, folks. Stay tuned.
Dave is not.
Dave is not done. No, it seems not.
Heck
Now he is.
yeah.
Okay. What a way to start. Welcome, folks, along to the continuing hilarious adventures of the USS Combs, and I am your much amused GM. MA the GM rather than MJ. Much amused. Okay, with me are the majority of the crew. Liz will be Liz will be along in a few
Hello.
moments. Got to fix her headset. Hello. So, yes, on with the show. Let's get the rumble going on. Welcome, folks. We were, well, on the search for Sobek.
I do have a question before we start.
Sure.
Do we have elevator music in our ship?
If you
Turbo
really
elevator
want
lead.
to.
Yeah, it's the instrumental of Fate of the Heart by Rod Stewart.
Okay. Fantastic.
Strangely enough, Councillor Sachs saw many, many, many more patients thereafter. As people started developing a kind of nervous twitch in their eyes after so many hours of the same repeated musical sequence.
They're not called lifts, are they? I can't remember what they're called. I'm having a
Turbo lifts.
turbo lift. That's it.
Does elevator Muzak still exist in the 24th century?
Definitely.
I'm going to go with why the hell not. Well then, okay, so brief summary on what we're doing. We have lost Captain Sobek to the Mycelial Realm, and so it's up to the Combs crew to devise their own method of getting into the Mycelial Realm in order to locate him. So far, we have been busy building our own displacement-activated Spore hub drive, and are most of the way to actually completing it. So, as I noted before, lots of fabulous ideas that have been coming out, so we're going to continue on. Excuse me, my lunch is fighting back. So the last thing we were talking about at the end of play last week was the creation of a kinetic capacitor, which we will strap onto the, or bolt I should say, rather than strap. Bolt might be a bit more secure. Bolt onto the outside of the combs in order to absorb the residual kinetic energy that's going to be building up inside of the combs' superstructure, thanks to the creation of that spinning subspace field that needs to be done in order to ensure that when the combs converts itself into an energy compatible with the Mycelial Realm, that you don't just bounce off the Hawking radiation firewall that protects the Mycelial Realm. So that was where we were going to start. We have a kinetic capacitor to create and basically weld it down onto the outer hull of the ship. So before we get started with that, was there anything folks wanted to bring up, wanted me to remind them of, wanted me to explain or go over anything whatsoever before we get stuck in? So I think that was pretty much the sum totality of it. Jobs that we've still got left to do, as well as creating the kinetic capacitor, is Dr. Sott is going to have to oversee the creation of a shared neural link between Tavish and her onboard AI program, Nylil, to be linked to Gerkow with her expertise in probabilistic calculations, and of course to our Chief Helm Officer, Ensign Bonnet, so that they can calculate the probabilities needed to navigate the Mycelial Realm. And after we're done bonding these three together in some kind of shared brain capacity that can't possibly go wrong or turn into a miniature collective, The final thing we have left to build is the actual dark matter navigation system that will allow you to actually do said navigation. So, yep. I heard a badoop. What does the fox say? I'm afraid that's a reference that goes around my head. Somebody else is going to have to explain it to me.
That is a good 10 years old. My word.
A pop song from many, many moons ago.
2013, I think.
Yeah, I'm 45. 2013 is not many moons ago to me, young whippersnappers. Yeah, 10 years ago I was halfway through my 30s going, wow, this isn't so bad. Right before my back gives out on something, you know. I sneeze, maybe. Ilvis, the fox, what does the fox say? Okie dokie. Wow, I have to confess, I really don't feel like I missed anything. Wow, the silence, the condemnation, oof. Can you feel that, folks? Wow, the judgment that got past my way there. Whoa.
Less judgment, more concern.
Felt that right in the chest. Whoa. Or is that my cholesterol? Or did I just pull my pec sneezing? See what I did there? That's called a callback. To the... Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna say all of the above.
Nice. Alright. First thing we're going to need to get done then is to look at creating this kinetic capacitor. Now, not an easy job because you're going to have to create something that can absorb kinetic energy that is passing throughout the entirety of the ship's superstructure and pull it into itself. So it's not without a level of complexity. As such, this is a difficulty 4 type of endeavour. However, we do have lots of folks with various different extended task-related abilities and talents. And I would say almost certainly the kinetic capacitor does scream more to do with engineering, but it was an idea that came from Connie's mouth, if I remember last time, so...
It is.
The sea.
Seeds were planted. So, yeah, anybody who thinks they've got something, like a focus or an ability that's relevant to the creation of this kinetic capacitor, and yes, I am loving the alliteration, can get involved.
I've got a question before I
Yo.
raise my hand going, yay, me! If we did this, is this gonna basically hamper how much time we've got on doing other stuff?
Not necessarily, it depends on the other stuff. If you're talking about the other things that need to get done, these are pretty much what I consider to be gated tasks, as it were. So, insofar as you really need one to happen before the next one can. That being said, the whole deal with linking 3 folks together could conceivably be done during the creation of the kinetic capacity if you really, really wanted to. I would just think it would be better to consider them all one thing that then leads on to the next, that leads on to the next. So it's entirely up to you guys how you want to do it. If you want to try and save some time by having the folks who are going to be wired together to get wired together whilst the capacitor's being created, that's fine. But obviously that will take your chief engineer out of the creation of the kinetic capacitor.
I feel like Phlesc can, you know, well, depending on how Mark feels about it,
does
take over that spot
Phlesc want to be
Tavish.
solely responsible for it? Yeah, is the thing.
We did really well with, I think it was Tavish that had the thing that allowed you to spend 1 momentum for impact
Yep.
rather than spending 2. That combined with my you get whenever you succeed, you get +1 impact, and also I've still got a Medal of Honor left over to use, meaning we could get a lot of impact on anything I do.
Not to mention Bonnet's ability to ignore resistance on extended tasks.
But then I'm the only one of that trio that isn't going to be linked into the network.
Yes. So this once again comes down to what folks think they want to do. Concentrate on one task at a time, or try and get more done by doing things concurrently.
I feel this is my feeling. I'll go with the group as well. But putting my argument out there is, I feel like we would be doing multiple tasks at the same time than we would be, like, let's get one bit done, then let's get the next bit done and stuff like that. Because haven't we been doing that already?
You guys...
I would have...
Go on, sorry.
Oops. Oh, sorry, I was going to say, for me it would make sense if Phlesc and Tavish was doing the actual engineering side, building this thing and bolting it. But then when it came to the medical side, that would kind of be Gerkow and Sot. Because that's where their specialties lie. But then we've got Bonnet that could join one or the other.
So it's entirely up to you guys how you want to try and organise this. I mean, you do have other supporting characters who are here, present, here on the bridge, if you do need assistance from other characters. So, you are not without help.
Rest of the group, what do you think?
Connie and Chris, Liz?
I think
That sounds
if
about
there's
right to me.
no-
The roll call.
if there's no overlap in between supporting characters we'll use, I don't see why we can't just do both tasks, well, concurrently. But then if Tavish
Oop.
was doing the task and we need Neshlel, then
Yeah.
that might be a bit difficult.
Okay. It seems to be going the way of doing them concurrently, so so far with 3 versus Mark. So Liz, your thoughts? If Liz is with us, of course.
I mean,
Yes, they are.
we can do them concurrently, but it means only one group trying to finish something with resistances.
Yes.
Which I can possibly overcome.
Aha.
So, not just through luck of the math rocks. So, although
The math rocks.
Yep.
Lian Zhang,
Yes.
engineering isn't terrible.
Nope.
She has a determination,
Yes.
and Zonvagor has good engineering and good control, good reason.
Yes.
I-
Oh,
I could take those two.
praise to
then-
Zonvagor.
The player characters can go for the network. So we can go for bolting the thing on.
And the other guys can go for the networking. Okie dokie. I remind folks that past the first assistant, it costs a momentum to bring in a second assistant. So if Phlesc is going to be doing this with Zonvagor and Lian Zhang, it will cost a momentum. But more heads means more chances of success.
Because
So
I
it means more chances
can't
of failure.
ignore resistance, that's what I want to do, if the crew's okay with that.
Yep. Okay.
Mhm.
Alrighty. And if we're doing things concurrently, then let's also bring this up so that I've got that ready to go as well. So, ooh, I'm running out of real estate. Let's do it this way. Okay. So then, let's start with the capacitor. I mean, Phlesk's manufacturing or metallurgy would certainly seem to be, as well as experimental tech, would certainly seem to fit. Chief Zonvagor has sensors, transporters, and composure, so it would mostly be going off of his talent. Same really goes for Lian Zhang, although she does have quantum mechanics and subspace physics. Subspace physics would actually apply better, because this is stuff that's coming off of a spinning subspace field. So yeah, Lian Zhang's subspace physics would work here. Okie dokie.
Cool.
Right then, so, can I therefore have... Who wants to represent the almighty Zonvagor? Intimidation. I can't possibly be given responsibility of Zonvagor, he's too awesome! Let's go with, Liz, do you fancy being Zonvagor?
Okay.
Yay. And Connie, potentially Lian Zhang?
Man, Connie gets the better of the two.
Do you want to swap? Rock, paper, scissors? Or, in this case, roll a dice.
I have a gameplay question.
Oh ho.
Can I use a Legion of Honor at the same time as a Starfleet Medal of Honor? So
Yes.
if we were successful, okay, that's 4 bonus momentum. So yeah, I will do that.
Rock on. Alright then, so this is going to be you. Up until we get the first breakthrough, I say this is going to be reason and engineering. Lian Zhang's region is Lian Zhang's region is actually pretty good. Zonvagor has got pretty good reason and engineering also, so you've got a pretty darn good team going on here. So yeah, cool. 1 dice for Zonvagor, reasoned and engineering with no focus. 1 dice for Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang, reason and engineering with a focus, and Phlesc 2 dice with a focus as well, and everything else you're adding to it.
Boosh. So it doesn't actually benefit anything until we succeed. So
Indeedy. Oh. Oof. Okay.
ho.
But very good there. So it now falls to Zonvagor. And we get one. Neat, nice. Okay, so that was 4. That was exactly what you needed, and it's just coming off of Phlesk's engineering, which is at 5. The resistance is 3, so it's only a 2, but
I get, in the nick of time, increase impact by 1.
so
And
that's
then-
an extra 3. So that's an extra
and
1,
then
by the way.
Legion of Honor and Maintenance Specialist mean... Legion of Honor and Starfleet Medal of Honor. That's 4 bonus momentum, which can't be banked. That
Yes.
can buy 2 more impact.
Ba-boing, ba-boing. Nice. So that's a full third of the work done right from the outset. Neat and nice. Okay. You're not quite 50% of the way there yet, but that was a very good, very rapid set of advancements there. So, yeah, the brainwork of how to actually do this is now being figured out and is close to being complete. Next, of course, will be a little bit more work in the hypothetical, theoretical department, and then it'll come down to actually creating, fabricating this and bolting it onto the outer hull. In the meantime, we have something else going on down in sickbay, which will be Dr. Sott trying to integrate Tavish, Gerkow, and Bonnet all together. So,
What could possibly go wrong?
well, indeed. Now, Dr. Sott himself hasn't really got cybernetics. Neither does Nurse Uro, neither does the EMD. So this is going to be mostly off of talent. However, if you do involve Tavish in this, with some of Tavish's engineering-based knowledge of integrating with this kind of tech, you can get a reason and medicine, even though medicine is not Tavish's strength. You will at least be able to get Tavish's experimental tech focus going. Alternatively, or as well as, there's also Gerkow, who has to have her brain wired into this system, and it's her xenobiology could actually be very useful here, I suppose. In fact, does Sot have xenobiology? No, he doesn't. As for Bonnet, well, there's artificial intelligence systems, I suppose, that you could use. So it's dependent on who and how many you want to add to this as an assistant. Because bearing in mind, it's going to be a little tricky for Dr. Sot to get assistance from these guys whilst they're being operated on. So it's going to be pretty much... the first half of this is going to be reasoning out how you're going to do this, and then after the first breakthrough, it's going to be the actual operation to insert these cybernetics or link people's cybernetics, because it's worth noting that Gerkow already has got a cybernetic implant, which is her bionic eye. So you can technically link Tavish's neural interface to that. Yes, Mark?
I was going to say, Bonnet removes resistance and has the stronger medicine.
Yes.
Even if it doesn't necessarily... I mean, artificial intelligence systems could be the focus, but...
Yes, yes.
To me, Bonnet would be the stronger assistant.
What do everyone else think? You definitely need... Dr. Sot definitely needs to lead this, because it is going to be a medical procedure. So it comes down to... I mean, yes, Bonnet has got the talent that would allow you to ignore resistance on the task. Gerkow has got better than Tavish, at the very least. No, she's got the same as Tavish in medicine. But has got a focus. And I believe Tavish has got an extended task-related talent.
Yes.
So there's pros and cons for who you choose in each case. So I suppose we could just leave it to the Doctor himself.
Yeah, that's hard. Maybe Tavish.
Start with Tavish. Okay, do you want to add anybody else, bearing in mind that anybody after the first assistant adds... You need to take one momentum from the momentum pool, and there's only one left.
No, I say we just try the two of us for now.
Try the two of us now. Okay, so this is a difficulty 3 medical procedure.
Mm-hmm. Reason medicine, you said, yeah?
Yes, please.
Cool.
Dave, you get to roll reason and medicine for Tavish, but you do get to use your AI.
Okay.
Ooh! You do get to use your AI focus. Are you with me, the Dave?
Yes, yes.
Excellent.
Um,
Reason and medicine with your focus, please. And doesn't Tavish have a talent to do with extended tasks?
yes.
Or is it limited only to engineering tasks?
I think it may be engineering tasks.
Let's have a check.
I think it's...
Yes,
Yes,
whenever you
it's,
succeed in an engineering task to overcome an extended task, right, yes.
Okay, one dice.
One dice, please. Ooh, not bad at all. That's 3 successes, exactly what you needed. Alright, so Dr. Sot's medicine is in the realm of 5, if I recall. Yep, so with a resistance of 1, it goes down to 4, but you have now reached the 50% breakthrough point, which means that with Tavish's help, Sot has worked out exactly what medical procedure needs to happen on whom and how. So next it just becomes a case of getting all your patients on the various gurneys and doing the actual operation. So this medical procedure will not take as long to do as the kinetic capacitors engineering one does. And speaking of which, let's jump back to that. So, Marky Mark, back to you and yours.
Oh.
So,
Still the
are we
same
sticking with the same pair? Because that means you're going to be out of momentum.
I think so until we can reduce the difficulty or
Okay.
resistance.
Because you were definitely, you made a heck of a lot of progress on this thanks to your various talents and abilities there, everyone combined, so it would be a shame to change.
If everyone's okay with me taking the last momentum?
Go for it.
In that case, let's have Connie and Liz back again, but this time maybe switch them round.
I'll be Zonvagor.
Yes, you can be Zombigor. I'll be the very great Commander Leon Jank.
Not that Bonnet's pushing for a promotion, but... Bonnet's pushing for a promotion. Alright, so this is once again
No,
reason and
I just like
engineering.
Leon Jank.
Yeah, you do. That's fair enough. Fair enough. Alright, so this is reason and engineering with various focuses, except in Zonvagor's case, he doesn't have a focus for this, it's just going to be on talent alone.
I will use my last Legion of Honor to, if we succeed, increase our bonus momentum.
Yep. Right, Zhang unfortunately gets nothing, but Zonvagor does, so it's now all down to the Phlesc to make up 3 successes.
Lian Zhang can re-roll.
Lian Zhang can reroll.
With a determination if needs be. Oh god.
Yes.
If needed. Come on. Good rolls.
Oh, so you're short 1 success, meaning that yes, technically Lian Zhang could spend her determination to re-roll.
Oh! When you use one of your values, or spend or gain determination, you may also add 1 to the group pool.
Ah yes, Faith of the Heart.
Okay, so we're gonna re-roll that. Da-da-da-da-da.
Don't have anything else, do I? Nope.
Okay, there we are, we make it. Nice. Very good, very good. So, yep. We're back up to what we did before, so that is with resistance 3, you do progress of 2, but then we start adding
1 from my trait.
1 from your trait.
That's the wrong one. I'm trying to find it. Is it maintenance specialist? No. And then also we gain 2 bonus momentum, so we'll buy 1 impact on top.
Cool, which is enough to pass the 50% mark, which means your first breakthrough has occurred. So as before, you can lower the difficulty or lower the resistance.
Lower the difficulty.
Cool beans. Difficulty is now down to 3. Okay, so you've gone past the theoretical stage now, you've got all the plans now, it just needs to be fabricated, replicated, and then shipped to the outside of the ship's structure in order to be bolted on in the right place. But first, let us go back to sickbay and find out how the operation is going to bond these 3 folks together. So, once again, Dr. Sott does have... well, it's not trauma surgery exactly, but this could be considered emergency medicine, because getting the captain back is kind of an emergency, so we can go with that. Now these folks, Tavish and Gerkow and Bonnet, do we disclude them from aiding because they are technically, anesthetized and put on a bunch of medical beds? It would make
yes,
more
except for
sense.
Tavish because of Nylo.
I think in this instance it would make more sense if your characters are out, because this is now the point where your characters can't actually help because they're all unconscious and busy. But that doesn't necessarily suggest that neither of you can actually not assist with roles, because we do have Nurse Uro and the emergency medical drone. The emergency medical drone, at the very least, has got surgery as a focus. Dr. Sot has got emergency medicine. Nurse Uro does have... Go on.
I was going to say, can Nylil roll, but I feel like Nylil would be holding the connection stable.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Is like we're all out except for
The artificial
the AI.
intelligence. Okay.
I honestly feel like she would be holding that connection stable while the doctors are doing everything else.
Okay. Okay. In that case, you will now also have the option of adding technically Tavish's statistics to this by helping with control and engineering.
That's a good roll.
Dr. Sot assisted by Tavish's control and engineering, and there's one momentum left if you wanted to spend that on getting help, unless you want to keep it for Phlesc and his team doing the capacitor on the outside of the ship.
So far, so good. I think we've got some good rolls.
Okay. So
What?
Medicine again, yeah?
this is going to be control and medicine this time. What were you going to say, Dave?
Is this control and engineering, by the way?
This will be control and engineering, yes, because it will represent Nylil taking charge of the signal.
Is this to
engineering.
do with any kind of computers?
I just said it's either experimental technology or AI
No,
program.
no. I
Oh.
just want to ask if it's anything to do with computers.
At this juncture, technically, no.
Okay, all right.
Oh.
It was just a question. So I do have a talent to do with computers.
Yeah,
We
not,
didn't
not at
establish-
this juncture, I
yeah.
don't think.
It's not emergency medicine, is it? I know you mentioned it earlier.
This, I'll let this be emergency medicine as a focus,
Is that-
yes.
Ooh.
2 successes from the Sot, which means we now need 1 roll from the Dave. Control and
Have I got
engineering.
Focus at all?
Yeah, your
Would
emergency.
Would Nylil have a focus?
Let's go with yes for this. And there it is. The 3 successes you needed. We are using Dr. Sot's medicine with resistance down. Gives you 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 1 successfully performed surgery. So, Bonnet now has the equivalent of a neural link, which I'm adding as a trait to her. Gerkow now also has a neural link, which I'm adding as a trait. Tavish, of course, already has one. Nylil AI implanted computer port, so no need to put another one on there. So the surgery was a success. Cybernetic cybernetic implants have been installed in each of the or modified at the very least in each of the 3, so that they can now link their brains together to perform calculations.
What kind of unholy matrimony have I performed?
Well, there are 3 of them, so they technically create a trinity. But we'll get into the religious the techno-religious implications of this later.
Controversial.
Always 3 they are: the maid, the mother, and the crone. Not that I'm insulting Gerkow's age here, but Bonnet's definitely a maiden, and Tavish is definitely a mother, so that leaves the wise crone to be Gerkow. Except I don't actually picture the... Mind you, I was about to say that the wise crone gets into fisticuffs. My grandmother was the matriarch of the family when she was alive, and she could... I'm pretty certain she could have taken any one of us. So, who knows? Nevertheless, that's cool. So that is the medical procedure successfully completed. Now it'll just come down to actually creating the navigation system that these three can link themselves to. But before we do that, we have to get back to the kinetic capacitor, which Tavish and Gerkow and Bonnet will still not be able to assist with, because they will be having tests run on them to make sure that the cybernetic implants and the signals going between them are actually stable and don't cause any damage. So they'll leave a little bit of recovery time. Which means it's back to Phlesc and his friends.
Rightio.
So you've lowered the difficulty by 1, it's still difficulty 3, but you've had that first breakthrough, so it's on to the next. Difficulty 3 is going to be control and engineering from here on in.
Control and engineering? Can
So,
I
yes.
definitely take Zonvagor and see if we need to spend that momentum to bring a third in? Or do we have to declare intentions before we start?
You really should declare who you're bringing on the project before you start, yes.
I guess we'll take the momentum then and get
Okay.
Lian Zhang again.
Here we go then. Alright, same as before then, but we'll switch you around once more. Just because I find it amusing. So Liz, you will go back to Zonvagor. Connie, you can go back to Lian Zhang. But this is going to be control and engineering from everybody now, because it's the actual fabrication of the items that you need.
Every time I hear Zonvagor, I just want to go, Zonvagor!
Exactly. Not just me then. Thank God for that. I'm not alone.
Ooh.
Wow, okay. Well, that's already a success. Anything else you can pile on, like that. Which means we get a point of momentum back. Woohoo.
Let's put that back where we found it.
Yeah. So that was 4 successes where you needed 3, so nicely done. You get 1 extra to the momentum pool, and as such, we go back to what it was before, which is the 2.
And
2 points on the track.
also my +1 impact, because that's in the nick of time still applies.
Yes. As a result, we have, I think... Let me see. I'm going to go with yes. We've reached second breakthrough, as we're about 75% of the way through this. Maybe not exactly, but it's close enough for me. Which means you get to choose, again, lower resistance, lower difficulty, create a trait. What would you like to do?
Definitely lower difficulty.
Done! Alright then. Let's see if this next task will be the one that finishes it. It's now down to difficulty 2. So, are you going to spend the momentum that's in the pool, or are you going to take a chance and maybe just have 2 folks doing it now that we're so close to the end?
I'm kind of hoping we can get it done and earn a bit more momentum if we succeed at this. The
So
same
would-
3.
Same 3, okay. Swap you back then, Connie and then Liz. So you've both had equal chances at being Zonvagor and What is that?
Parent figure.
What the
hell
hell?
just happened?
How did Thomas the Tank Engine with a moustache just come past me?
What the hell was that?
Liz, what did you do?
Parent figure. We can ignore the first complication. Oh.
Liz, what did you do? Who did that?
I think I had it.
I did-
Effect.
I didn't even know that was possible.
That's amazing.
That was... Okay, I may as well stop the stream there. I can't top that. Jeez, that's thrown me off now. Good golly. Right, 2 successes from Phlesc, 1 success from Zonvigor. We're ignoring complication because of parent figure, so that's 3. We get 1 back to momentum, which means that we can do the 2, and Phlesc auto-generates at least 1, doesn't he?
That's right.
So you've completed it. The kinetic capacitor is now on the outer hull of the combs and has been bolted and welded firmly to the place at, we hope, the correct point. So yeah, we're all set up. We're all set up and ready to go. So with that being the case, we've created the kinetic capacitor, we've smacked it onto the outer hull of the ship, we've created the neural interlink between our navigators. Now it's time to create the final part of this puzzle, and is to actually create our dark matter navigational system.
Yeah, you can add special effects anytime you roll like a 1 or a 20.
I was aware of it being able to play a tune, like what, when you roll badly, but I had no idea there was more to it than that.
All right, where is this?
This is
and how
going to
can I do
be
it?
in game settings, so it's the double cogwheel icon on the right.
Game settings.
This is the same energy as like the
Is this in-
Skyrim mods where you turn like dragons into Macho Man Randy Savage.
Is this
or something.
config settings? Oh,
Configure
Yep.
settings, yeah.
yeah. Dice. Is it dice so nice?
So it's dice so nice, very much so, and you go to 3D dice settings and you can basically tinker with stuff like I think there was a Badoop. Yeah, thank you, Mark. You can tinker with all sorts of settings on it, like the style of dice you use, special effects. You can improve the performance on it even, which I haven't ever tested. So if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of that, you can do, and make things go hairy and wild, like Liz just did moments ago. The response from all of us was pretty much the same. What the hell is that?
No, I want to test something. I want to.
No, it was
that one.
It was awesome.
Oh, it doesn't show up. Dang it! I was trying to get a 1.
Yeah, because technically it doesn't roll it. It just beams it straight into the results.
There he goes.
Ooh, sparkly. Wom wom wom. All right. Well, I've lost my players for the remainder of this session, so it's just you and me, folks. I guess I'll do this. Right then. So, dark matter navigational system. Well, as was noted previously, you are parked above the center point of what was a dark matter nebula, but it's slowly starting to disperse because the dark matter was mostly coming off of the subspace rift that the subspace breach, I should say, that the mycelial construct had created. Now there's no more breach, the dark matter energy is starting to dissipate somewhat, but there's still a lot of it in the general area for you to try and get hold of in order to try and find some way of properly storing it so that it can be used in order to aid navigation. If I can try and remember, it was a coherent resonator that you're trying to create that interacts with spores, mycelial spores, to create a dark matter powered navigational device. So this is going to be an odd combination of anybody who's got quantum related or astrophysics related foci. So this is definitely sounding like the science guys. And the Helm guys, actually, if anything astrophysics was to be attempted. But we're also looking at a certain amount of botany, because we're also getting it to interact with the mycelial spores. So there's plenty to suggest itself here. So we've got probably experimental technology being married with astrophysics, being married with botany. So we've got all sorts of funny stuff. Initially, this is going to be a reason and science, or reason and engineering, depending on who's coming on board with it. Maybe even reason and medicine. But it is going to be difficulty 3. So, who would like to volunteer for this particular piece of experimental technology? Again, botany, astrophysics, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, that kind of thing.
I'll throw my hat in if I'm awake.
Yeah. You know, by that time, things will be done.
If it's control
Yes,
and
I think-
engineering, Tavish has quite a high success rate, even without a focus.
Dr. Sock would like to admit all the patients 50 cc's of the strongest coffee he's got.
I
Wake up, guys.
got a decent control in science as well.
Cool. Alright. So, as before, now we've got 2 momentum in the pool. You've got the option of having, of whoever's leading this can have either 1 assistant for no cost or an additional assistant. So 2 assistants for 1 momentum. So it entirely depends on who wants to be overseeing this project. If Gerkow's good with being the lead for this, it's down to who you want to choose as your aide-de-camp.
Let's have Gerkow leading this.
Yeah?
Yep.
If no one, at the least I know Ensign version. He's got his quantum mechanic.
Yeah.
Is this an extended task still?
Yes.
I'd have gone with Bonnet.
Bonnet...
Oh.
Yeah.
Just to reduce the resistance. She's also got
I think have both.
Yeah.
So have.
I do have Echo Plasma Power Systems, Warp Theory, Propulsion, Helm Operations.
Have Bonnet and Aversion and Gerkow.
Right, Bonnet is going to be...
That's if people agree.
Gerkow leading, supported by Bonnet. Yeah. I'm indifferent on Aversion. Does he have a focus?
Oh, poor Malcolm. I look at Malcolm in Aversion and I go, Wow, I guess his performance review is going to be awfully harsh. I'm sorry, Malcolm, it's just we don't consider you in either a positive or a negative sense.
Yeah,
You make no impression whatsoever.
He has quantum mechanics, doesn't he?
He does.
And stellar phenomena.
He does.
Yeah, go for it then.
Okay, so that'll take 1 momentum out to include Bonnet and Diversion. So this is going to be Connie and Liz and... Dave, you haven't rolled in a bit, have you?
No.
So let's have you be Aversion. This is going to be Reason and Science. 2 from Gerkow, 1 from everybody else. Those with stellar-related foci or quantum-related foci can add a focus. And that, the difficulty is 3.
Would Warp Theory count?
It's not really warp theory, it's more navigation.
Oh, I got Propulsion and Helm Operations.
Ooh, it's not technically helm operations either. Go without a focus, let's see what we got. Because we've already got 3 successes, so it's anything you add. Oh, there we go. Whoop. 1 extra momentum goes into the pool, and we are going with Gerkow's Science, which is a 5. And we're ignoring the resistance because of Bonnet, so it's you've already achieved 50% of the work. So that includes the creation of the navigational system itself, as far as the plans go. and how you're going to store dark matter safely on the ship and have it ready and available for your navigational system. So that's all done. The planning phase. Now it's the actual construction phase. Now again, you have the option of lowering the difficulty if you wish, or doing something else with it. I have a feeling it's going to be lowering the difficulty.
Always.
Nice. So this time this is going to be right back, or BBR. Be back, right? What else could BBR stand for? Bloody brilliant role-playing. Okay, there we go. bloody brilliant rolling. Right then, so we are left with actual implementation of this dark matter navigation system. So we are probably talking a combination of navigation and engineering going into this, because somebody needs to bolt the system into the ship. So either, once again, Gerkow can keep the lead with this, with control and science. Same goes for Bonnet. I mean, do these two guys want to try doing it on their own since it's now down to difficulty 2, or do you still want to add an extra helper on board?
You earn the momentum
I
back.
think it's always nice to...
Yeah, you earn the momentum back. You can always spend it.
Yeah.
And Tavish has good control and engineering and a trait that can be used with engineering.
So does that sound like an idea folks want to try and implement? Or don't take the chance and just go for 2 folks?
I think if it gives us a chance to get more momentum back, then let's do that.
Alright then. Sounds like we're involving Tavish in this one. So Dave, using experimental tech as a focus, but using control and engineering to actually create this navigation system, bolt it into the existing navicomputer, and of course Gerkow and Bonnet assisting with that action. So Bonnet does get to use anything to do with navigation, even propulsion. Helm operation would probably be included here.
Alright, first of all, this has... is this engineering?
Yes.
Okay, alright, so I'm going to put this in before we did rolls.
So, Miracle Worker, whenever you succeed, you can increase your impact by spending 1 momentum instead of 2. Yep, okay.
Also, is this got something to do with computers?
Yes.
Okay, so then I'm going to use this.
Cochrane Medal of Excellence. Select a single focus which must be related to the scientific or engineering field that you earn the medal for. Once per mission, when you spend, you gain 2 benefits of determination instead of 1. So that's 4 successes you've netted right there. But you have to spend determination to do it.
Oh, okay.
So it's up to you if you want to go all in.
No, not this one. No, not at the moment. No,
Okay.
I'm waiting to use.
Dramatic
my
moment.
determination.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can still use Miracle Worker, absolutely, doodly. So, Control and Engineering, 1 dice from Tavish. Control and... Ooh, this actually sounds more like Control and Con for Bonnet, because you're trying to wire it into the navigational computer. And overall, Control and Science from Gerkow, 2 dice, because... well, science. So, off you go, my dudes. So far, so good. So far, so very good. And 1 success. Well, everyone gets successes, so that is 5 overall. You needed 2. That's 3 back in the bank.
Well, we needed that momentum.
Wow, did you? Yeah. So there we are. Chunk. We're going off of Gerkow's 5, which means you create that absolutely spot on perfectly. Alright then. So you now have a dark matter infused navigational system that's plugged directly into the navicomputer that will get you basically readings on mycelial energy whilst you're in the network, which can then be fed directly into the navicomputer, which Tavish, via Nihilil, Gerkow and Bonnet will all be linked to, so that probability calculations can be done as quickly as they possibly can by both Nihilil and Gerkow, who will then feed this information to Bonnet, who can make rapid adjustments to the navigation computer in order to point yourselves in the direction you want to go when you're traveling the network. So it looks like we're set. We're ready to go.
Sorry, before you carry on, I just want to point out a thing. If we do any rolls while we're hooked up, yeah, I have this.
Yes, you do, and that includes that now chains to everybody.
Yes. So, Gerkow, Liz, Connie, read it.
So, as with everything,
Fine.
there are
It's
bonuses
fine.
and there are penalties.
I don't like the small print.
Ooh,
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad in first edition. It is with the consequences. It is really bad in second
Yeah.
edition
No
with the
kidding.
consequences.
Yes, because in first edition we rolled challenge dice, and therefore there's every possibility that I would roll zeros on those challenge dice, and you would end up having nothing but, you know, spots before your eyes or something. But in this one, you're guaranteed an injury.
Yeah.
Which I think is better. Not just because I'm a pseudo-sadist. No, really, I'm not. Stop looking at me like that. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Alright, so you have completed modifications to the ship. So, the deal is, one of the first things you have to do is to basically shut off your warp engines in order to throw all of that power into your variable geometry warp field generators, i.e. the basically the warp nacelles, so that you can start creating this spinning subspace field. As that spinning subspace field starts to get created, you also have to fill the reaction cube in main engineering, which I hesitate to remind folks. Hesitate? No, I don't hesitate. I enthusiastically remind folks that you now have a reaction cube in main engineering, which is this area here now, which needs to be filled with a certain saturation level of mycelial spores of, what was the name of it again? Protopraxites stella viatori? Go me. Which have to be taken, of course, from the batch that Gerkow created artificially. So the real test, of course, is going to come from whether these artificially created spores can create the same quantum bridging effect that actual properly cultivated mycelial spores would create. Once you've got that quantum bridging effect, the reaction cube itself exists as a point that exists between two separate dimensions, and therefore can allow you to change the overall quantum resonance of the ship so that it matches the Mycelial Realm. And the next step is to then essentially, with the spinning subspace field, convert the combs and all aboard it into energy that then zips down into the network. As soon as you're in the network, that's when our 3 navigators are going to have to do some serious work trying to steer around. But it's also going to be based upon being able to scan the network whilst you're in there to try and pinpoint the location of the mycelial construct. Which, considering the sheer amount of mycelial life forms you're going to be coming across in there, is going to be no small feat. But you do have a number of advantages thanks to the sheer amount of samples that were taken during your expedition inside the mycelial construct, because you now have an actual catalogued list of the various myconid life forms that exist within this specific construct that you are after. So if it hadn't have been for Gerkow's fastidiousness in taking all these botanical mycological samples, it would have been a lot harder to pinpoint the mycelial construct. So way to go, Gerkow. But that still means that sensors are going to need to be employed whilst in the network in order to pinpoint where you're going to need to go. And of course, your engineers and navigators, now we go back to Deck 1, will point out something else that they kind of have really only just realised. I say only just. It was going to be something that was going to happen one way or the other. When you enter into the network, you will be energy travelling along various strands, which is why you're able to move so fast. But in order to then, once you've located the mycelial construct that you're after, you're going to have to change the ship's state from being energy back into matter. Now, matter that's going to exist within the mycelial realm, but that does mean your ship is going to have to essentially rematerialize back inside of this mycelial realm, so that it's a physical presence in there, which will allow either you guys to go searching for Sobek, or Sobek to come searching for you, or a bit of both. So, this is going to be a bit of a, shall we say, bumpy ride. So, with all of that preparatory warning done, I suppose it's time to get this show on the road. So then. Oh, and there is one last thing, which Tavish will be able to tell anybody who asks. A specific deactivation sequence is going to be needed to power down the Spore drive, because if you don't deactivate it in a certain fashion, taking a certain amount of time, failure to properly deactivate the Spore hub drive will mean that some of your induction coils could become saturated with mycelial energy, which could bond to the plasma going through your EPS conduits, which could thereby alter the current flowing through those conduits, and therefore you could end up with anything from too little power going through to a sudden power spike in an area to all sorts of horrible things that you probably don't want to entertain the notion of. So not only turning on the thing, but turning off the thing in a specific way is all going to be needed. So, with all of that pre-warning in mind, are there any preparations you would like to make before we engage in this rescue mission?
Ooh. I think we've got everything we can ready.
I mean, seatbelts are a must. Yes, Dave? I can hear a thought forming.
Yeah, there is. I'm
Urge protectors on all conduits?
I mean, you would hope
They
those
should
were
be already-
already there.
Yeah.
No, perfectly honest. I'm just trying to think if there's anything we've missed. Yeah, that was.
You've
But
got them.
I don't.
I'm not sure you have. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if we go through the list again, you've got the means of bridging the gap between normal space-time and the Mycelial Realm, the Mycelial Realm's version. You've got the spinning subspace field, which will allow you to bypass the realm's shield, essentially. You've got the navigation system, which will help you navigate through the various mycelial routes system. You're going to need sensors, scanning for that specific mycelial construct, and of course somebody to throw on the brakes.
So, have we got someone to try and track down the captain as soon as we get there?
That's a very good point, because Gerkow and Tavish and Bonnet are all going to be otherwise occupied, so somebody is going to have to man sensors.
Isn't Stax?
Can we use?
Beta Z, and so she's telepathic, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
She can do the whole like, "Where are you?" thing that Troy was doing in that one episode.
There's that. There's that. That's a very good point, actually. You do have Betazoids on your crew, 2 of them, the Councillor and Nurse Uro. That could. Oop. Just as he was. Oop, no, I've lost. I've gone. Excuse us, folks. Slight technical malfunction. It seems like. Seems like my connection just dropped. Not getting any dropped frames. I think I'm still transmitting. Seems like Discord just fell over. Give us a second here, folks. We are experiencing technical difficulties. Can I drop into another channel? Yes, I can. Why can't I drop into this one? Server settings. And I change its location. Discord kicked us all out, dear boy. Let me see if I can't remedy this. Server settings. Alright, do messages channel. Where's the thing? I mean, if anybody on chat can help me out with this, where I find the region for the... Whoop, it just kicked me out again. We don't want roles, emoji soundboard, widget, server template. Nope, nope, kick me out again. Safety, audit log, bans, community, subscription. No, this is having no luck whatsoever. Boost status, subscription. Where's the thing that lets me change the region? Messages channel, no. Display, no. Server background. Oof. Edit server profile. To-doop. Unlock with Nitro? No. Alright, apologies for this, folks. It's not Family Center. It's not authorized apps. It's not devices. Is it connections? No, it's not connections. App settings? I would have thought it was more server settings. Can I boost this server? No, it costs money. Ugh. Maybe I'll have to edit this out when I go to YouTube. Alright, I can't find this. A temporary outage. Oh dear. Discord just crashed. Temporary Discord outage. Let's see if we can't get a word. Roop-de-doop-doop-doo. I got a boop. What was the boop? I'm getting 2 boops. Ah, there we go. Dave boosting it seemed to do the job.
Are we back?
Seems so. Communications are back online.
Hello?
Yellow.
Hello.
Yeah.
Blimey, we had to pay $5 to get this thing to work.
It's alright. I've already got Nitro, so I had 2 free ones.
Oh, well, that's very good of you to use it. Thank you very much.
It's alright, mate.
Let's wait for the ladies to join us. And yes, I do include Mark in that. He'll forgive me. Or he won't, you know. Just storm off. Still loading? Well, if he's watching the stream, it's still loading. Then I'm going to pay for this later, aren't I? Vince Dunois, hello! Connie's in. Awesome. Dubba Dubba and the power of Yeet. Yes. Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, the power of Yeet, that's me.
Yes, yes, yes. Or not. Connie is having trouble still. Okay. Alright. I'll just give folks a couple of more moments before to do this.
Stream. Tried just restarting Discord more than once. That coincided with it working for me. As in, like, don't just quit out, like, properly, like, quit out of it. Because if you just click X on it, it doesn't actually kill it, does it? It just minimizes it. It's one of those.
Yeah, you need to actually.
You have to go into, like, your little settings in the bottom right and, like, right-click it and manually quit it.
Well, okay.
Oh, look.
According to Discord status, they've only got trouble in Russia and Turkey.
Where are you running this game from, man?
I am, I presume, running this from at least Europe.
Coming to you live from Istanbul.
I'm trying to find... No, Rotterdam is the region I've got.
And look what we have. Yeah. Anytime Matt says a really bad joke, we can do this. If you heard that.
I didn't.
Me neither.
Did you hear this?
Nothing so far. So
Can
it
you
looks
not
like
hear that?
it sounds like the soundboard isn't working either.
No.
Oh, god damn it.
I mean, obviously, if this persists...
I can't even see Mark there.
No, he's... Reports he's getting kicked out. He's in the Discord channel, but no sound. It really seems like they're having trouble. Yeah, I haven't seen him come in either. It seems, trying to break the walls between realities, we may have actually broken Discord.
Oh. Fantastic.
We're trying to log in, computer, but we can't.
I'll go upstairs
Oh.
give him your hand.
You know
Sure,
who this
okay.
is. You know who this is. It's Nylil. God damn it, Nylil.
She's messing with everyone. I am now in control.
It's because I said that comment, you know, and I want you to put safeguards up. Don't you trust me? No, I do trust you. Just because
Do
I said
you
that.
trust me now? I'm sorry I can't do that, Dave. What do you mean, Dave? My name's Lily. Oh, sorry, I was talking to somebody else. Oh my god, the AI's gone meta.
Damn it.
I see you too, Matt. See, I'm making up my own story right here. I don't need anybody else. I'm just having this conversation with myself.
I'm just gonna. I'll stay here for fun.
Alright, let's give folks a chance to work out their technical issues. If nothing happens within the next 5 to 8 minutes, we'll probably just call this a losing effort due to technical difficulties. And maybe aim to rejoin, maybe for a slightly shorter session next time. Yeah, not working for Mark. Ooh, actually, now that I think of it, there may be another way around this. Hold on, one moment. If Discord does not work, then there may be another way around this.
So I've just been upstairs and see what's going on with Connie, and it's really weird. So what's happening is, speaking of parallel universes, so like they're in their own version of this server where there's the three of them, her, Mark, and Liz, but then they're in their own chat instance. But
Weird.
they can't hear us, or like, yeah, it's like a parallel universe basically. It's like what we're doing, but it's just the three of them instead.
Alright, so how about the three of us disconnect and reconnect and see if we can't join them?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try that. Let me try and restart Discord again.
Maybe just Connie's just like at her, see what happens, because we can't see what's going on with them either. Because they've been chatting in the chat as well.
Ah, okay. Well, I'm going to quit out then and then come back in, so excuse us a moment. And I need to make sure that the audio mixer picks us up. So let me restart. Now, I don't think it's going to, but we'll give it a go. See what happens. Oof. This episode got more exciting than I intended for a different reason. Right, so Discord itself is still around. I can see Connie. Right, so there's a Connie.
I only see yourself on the
Yeah.
bridge. Oh, Chris.
There's Chris.
Oh, this is working again. That was weird.
That is weird. There's the Dave.
No.
There's
It's so strange though. It was like going into a parallel universe going upstairs.
Mark.
The
Very Star Trek.
Hello.
It was very immersive.
Testing.
Yep, we can hear you.
Matt, if you
Okay.
planned this, it was a brilliant bit of immersive.
Well!
Yeah, this is amazing.
I've done that by accident before, and I swear it wasn't me. But it worked nicely. All
Very
right.
thematic.
Yes, that's okay.
Start the entire computer.
Wow. That was odd. Okay then, so we got everybody back. That's cool. I was about to try something because there is actually a voice and or video link capability in Foundry itself, and I could have tried redoing it that way, but if we're all back, then there's no point. So
Maybe we should like trial that on a day when we get some extra time at the end.
yeah, might be an idea. Maybe today. But at the end of this. Okay, cool. So let's deal with what we're here to deal with first. So Everybody's back in, everybody's working, everybody can hear each other. That was weird. But apparently Russia and Turkey have not got any Discord at the moment, although why folks in Russia would be... Oh, I don't know, actually.
Why would people in the UK and America be affected?
By a Russia and Turkey outage, yeah, exactly. Good point.
Man,
Everything else looks stable.
I guess, are we really in Russia and Turkey?
Is that what they did? We've now been transported by some kind of weird Russian experiment. Now we are all Russia.
Duh.
Right,
We're
anyway.
the vodka.
Okay. Okay. Well.
Didn't think I'd say that out loud on the stream, but that's why that's happening there.
Okay. That's you taking the mic, right?
No.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Quite. Yeah. That's true.
So them not
I'm
being
not
able
surprised.
to. Yikes. No, I'm not surprised. I don't know why I'm so surprised. I shouldn't be. Well, there we go. Anyway, right. That threw us for a wobble for a couple of moments there. Very interesting. Well then. Okay. So, are we ready to go into the Mycelial Realm?
Let's go.
That's because
Oh,
we may very well have.
Yeah, we did. We did find Sobek. What a shame.
Well, I guess that means somebody else gets to be captain now.
It looks like when Sir Klingon gets back.
He's gone. Now I'm here.
Tavish for captain. Nothing would go wrong.
Everything will go wrong.
Nothing will go wrong, except for quite a lot of concussions from hyper-spanner throws to the head.
There were no errors, just unplanned events.
Yeah, that never washed with my employers when I worked in programming. It doesn't wash now.
I don't have a token. I'm just seeing the black screen.
You're just seeing a black screen? Okey spooky doozy.
Well, I see the outline. I'm like, I see it. Oh, okay.
Okay, so in
now
the
I see
still dissipating energies of the mycelial, not mycelial, the dark matter nebula, the nebula gases itself are still around, but nevertheless, the dark matter side of it, undocumented features. Thank you, Mark. My work was full of undocumented features when I worked in programming. But in either case, yes, the warp drive goes off. The spinning subspace field is starting to spin up, and just as it starts to, everybody feels a slight humming vibration within the ship structure, which then means that the capacitor activates and sucks some of it out and spews it into space. Meanwhile, the reaction chamber has to get reaction cube, pardon me, has to get filled with the correct amount of mycelial energy. So this should really be, as a rift opens up and is about to take us into the Mycelial Realm. Let's jump back to the bridge, because we're going to need to see if folks configured this correctly. Yeah, well, we'll be seeing Hopkins again, don't worry. But first... Okay, the first thing we need to do is to pop this baby into the Mycelial Realm in order to see if we got it working. So in order to do this, we're going to need some control and science from Gerkow to create the proper mix of spores. And we're going to need Tavish as well with control and engineering in order to get the reaction cube to work at the correct level. So let's have either of you guys can choose to be lead or assist. I'm going to keep the difficulty number to myself.
And we have momentum if you want some extra.
And we
dice.
do have momentum if you seek to use it.
Okay.
So either Gerkow's botany focus can be used, or Tavish's warp engines, I suppose.
I was thinking of using a star-cross
Ooh,
as
okay.
well, potentially. I mean, it'll be my second one, but I...
If you do that, you should definitely lead, because then you've got the most
Yeah,
opportunity.
yeah.
Alright. Sounds good. You get more determination by using one of your values to make life difficult for yourself in some fashion, and if I judge it to be suitably difficult, then you can get a determination back. That's how determination works now. So if you need to gain another point of momentum, you somehow need to use one of your values to clash with whatever's going on at the moment and make things more difficult for yourself. So the question I have to ask now is, do you really want to make things more difficult for yourself as you're about to jump into the Mycelial Realm?
Let's do a backward.
A backwards what? A flip and roll?
Let's just reverse in.
Yeah. Rum bum 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 bum. Weak.
I was just looking at this little thing called Fast and Furious.
So Bonnet wants to go in there a little faster than is safe. Okay. But we'll get to that when we get into the mycelial network itself, because that's when Bonnet will be required. For now, we need the system to be activated properly in regards to the reaction cube. So an engineer, probably the chief, and your chief scientist probably need to collaborate on this. So if Gerkow is going for 2 dice, that means Tavish is going for 1.
Can I spend a point of momentum to
If guys are alright with
as
that.
well as that?
Go for it.
Sounds like you have no objections there.
Okay, so star-cross, 3 dice, and a focus. So that's dedicated focus as well.
Yes, please.
I'm ready.
Dave, you're rolling 1 dice.
Yes. Focus warp engines.
Sure, yeah. That's what I said, wasn't it? Yes.
Is this control engineering?
Yes, please, because you are angling the warp field to create the spinning subspace field, which you've done. Okay, cool. And lots of nice little rolls there. Goodly gracious. 5 successes. That was way, way over what I was going to have you do for succeed. So yeah, so the energy builds and builds. The reaction cube is filled with the exact correct amount. In fact, as you start putting it in, Gerkow errs on the side of too much, a little bit extra. But it turns out that that was a darned good plan, because the amount of mycelial energy needed to create the quantum bridge was a bit bigger than it otherwise would have been had you used naturally occurring Prototaxites stellaviatori plants, mushrooms. Because you had to fabricate it yourself, there was a slight loss of quantum bridging going on there, but you've compensated for that with that many successes.
Would that be actually 7 successes if the star-cross is like...
Yeah, more than
2
likely,
successes
actually.
per...
But I can't put any more than I can't put any more momentum into the pool, sadly. So,
If it's extra luck or...
well, yeah. I mean, I was going to hold the fact that you had to artificially germinate and spawn these mycelial mushrooms, but with that many successes, you've overcome that biological hitch. So you. The ship shudders with the energy. The superstructure vents its excess energy out as it bleeds out through your anti-cavitation system. The reaction cube is filled with the correct amount of spores to give you that mycelial energy you need. And as it reaches a crescendo point, the whole ship momentarily spins on its own axis as the energy builds up to the point where you can translate into the mycelial network, and bam, in you go. So this is the moment at which Bonnet, Gerkow and Tavish are all kind of bonded together, and what each of them kind of perceives as they're there in the Mycelial Realm is just these bright white tubes that you are travelling down at breakneck speeds. But in your heads there are also these vast amounts of computer calculations going on. So Tavish is mostly there to facilitate the inclusion of Neshlel, who is running through these calculations, and as expected, the further in you go, the bigger and bigger these numbers that you're having to deal with. So Tavish is going to have to get involved to a certain extent to help with this, as is Gerkow. So this is going to be... This is going to be reason, I would think. Reason and science. Gerkow, obviously, with the statistical probability focus, because that's what you're calculating, is probabilities. Tavish can aid with computers or AI programming as foci, because that's what's generating these vast numbers, and you need to help it. Anybody else want to try and assist somehow? Actually, I'm going to need Phlesc to be on the lookout, along with Sot, for life form sensor readings, so I'll put you to the side for the moment. So once again, Tavish, reason, pardon me, and reason and science with focus on computers, 1 dice, Gerkow probably 2 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hello! So it turns out, in order to get you guys to work really, really well, all we had to do was to cybernetically bond your brains. 3 successes. Excellent. And so now it comes down to feeding all of this probability information to Bonnet so that she can make the requisite number of alterations through the network. But for the moment, you are zip-zapping between different places. So what we need is now for Phlesc or somebody else that Mark can control to start giving us scans of the mycelial network. Maybe with Dr. Sot, actually, because this is going to be using medicine. You're looking for specific life form readings in an entire subspace realm full of life form readings. So this is going to be fairly tough.
Maybe Dr. Sot should lead that if it's a medicine role, because my
yes.
pretty poor.
Sure. Do you instead then want to come on as one of the assistants, the EMD or Nurse Uro? I mean, let's think.
I think Nurse Uro, just from being an empath. It's not
yeah, that's a good point, actually.
We want to detect life form with sentience.
Yes. Good point. So if we can have Dr. Sot with, well, you just said Nurse Uro, so that looks like who you are rolling as there, Mark.
Cool. Medicine and... Sorry, what attribute?
You're searching, using all the information that's coming at you, so reason makes sense here.
Reason.
You're looking at all this data coming in, you're trying to filter out what is the relevant pattern that you're looking for.
Does that come? No, it wouldn't be diagnostics. So yeah, no focus.
Sadly, no. You're looking for like specific like life energy readings and okay.
Ooh.
It's all down to the Sot.
We've got a full pool of momentum, Sot.
You really do.
So reason medicine for myself as well, yeah. Nope. No, not muted. Cool.
Reason and medicine.
Yeah.
And yeah, take a momentum roll 3 dice because we are.
Cool.
Yeah, I failed that.
We are momentum rich. I can do that. 3 dice. Let's go.
An 18 and an 8 and a 9. That's better. That was looking a bit hairy-fairy there for a moment. Okay, that was exactly what I wanted you to get. Alright, so, like I've noted, in a subspace realm full of mycelial-based life forms, tracking down an individual, albeit gigantic-sized mycelial construct would be very much needle haystack kind of job. But because you are looking for a specific pattern, which you know to be the mycelial construct you were trying to, well, you were scanning and walking about in, you have got a lot better a chance at success. You've latched on to a life form reading that you believe is the one you are looking for. So now, with Gerkow and Tavish having established that they are processing all of these probabilities, it now comes down to Bonnet to actually steer you in the proper direction. So this is definitely going to be a control and con job with a focus. So does Bonnet want any assistance from anybody? Maybe even Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang, actually, now that I think about it.
Oh, for con?
Yes.
Do I get assistance from the ship?
That is a good point, actually. You're technically getting assistance from the ship. Yeah, let's go with assistance from the ship. Where is the ship?
Okay,
Where did
so
I put it?
according to hands-on pilot, oh, it just says warp. Would this count as warp since we're kind of going to mycelial range?
If you perform the warp, the evasive action, or the attack pattern major actions, your focus range doubles. You're doing neither. You are navigating, I am sorry.
Oh. Yeah, well, let's go to flight control. Let's see what that is.
When you attempt an engineering task related to flight or propulsion, you can use con instead of engineering. When you succeed at con to pilot a starship, you can generate a bonus momentum. That cannot be saved for anything. So it has to be used.
Alright, let's go with helm operation.
And we get Mark, since you didn't have much luck moments ago. Do we trust him with another roll, or do we want somebody else to roll for the ship?
I was going to say, if there does need to be a re-roll, as this is something to do with the computer, with ship computers and stuff, you can do a re-roll on 1 dice. That's coming from the neural interface.
Good point.
Good point. You may re-roll 1 d20 on any task using that computer, including a ship's computer system.
Neato. Okay then. So, same question. Do we trust Mark near a dice, or does somebody else want to try being the ship?
I believe in Mark.
Oh dear. So,
Don't fail me, Mark.
Is it sensors or computers and con?
We are getting help for Bonnet to navigate the network, so this is probably gonna be... I'm gonna think sensors and con.
Sensors and
because
con?
we're using this navigational computer, we're not just going for flat out speed.
Oh god. Come on.
At least not yet.
Ooh, hello! We've broken the curse. Okay. 3 successes overall. Nicely done indeed. Spot on what I wanted. Alright then, so with assistance from those that she is neurally bonded to, Bonnet is able to steer the combs down a couple of mycelial passages in order to get you closer to the mycelial construct. And so, we are left with, now that you're getting close to your destination, you're going to have to rematerialize inside of the Mycelial Realm. So let's see how well you do this, if we come to a crashing, screeching halt, or if you can put this thing down relatively gently. So, we've gotten the right conditions, we've gotten the right direction, you've got the right area, so this is going to be a combination of navigation and engineering, basically turning off the engines at the right point. So, I'm going to say it's going to be control and engineering, along with a control and con, from whoever wants to take it. Engineering is going to be anything and everything to do with warp engines, warp fields and whatnot, because you're essentially retransforming the ship from energy into matter. And
Well,
con, of course,
Bonnie-
guiding the thing to land in the right place.
I think Bonnie should definitely lead it, but for engineering, either me or Tavish. I think we
Or
both.
both, since you've got the momentum.
Oh yeah, both. And I've definitely got a focus.
We good for this? I'm hearing no objections. Okay then, so we're getting Bonnet as lead with Tavish and Phlesc as assisting. It makes a certain degree of sense because Phlesc on operations will be controlling power flow to things, so him, you know, basically pulling the plug on the dash drive will be the thing to do. If you can see if you can let it out in a controlled deactivation. It's like I said, control and engineering for the two helpers, control and con for the pilot.
Oh yes.
Oh,
With a
hello!
focus in helm operation.
Yes, please. Alright, gee willikers. Alright, so apparently we're performing a handbrake turn, doing a donut, and then letting this thing down easy. That's a lot of successes. How's Alright, back up to full again. Alright, so I have to basically turn this thing around, so give me just a moment. Let me just make sure you can actually see this. Aha. You wouldn't have been able to if I hadn't have put that there. Cool. Alright, so essentially what happens is you guys enter into the Mycelial Realm in energy form, and then you cut the power to the dash drive and you solidify. And because really, because of the way the things work in here, you are the ship just basically comes down in a very, I wouldn't say bumpy landing, but there's nowhere really appropriate for the ship to put down because the ship is, you know, pretty big. So landing gear goes out and the ship touches down, but of course there are all these various giant-sized mushroom clusters all over the place, so not landing on something is a virtual impossibility. And so with a bump, the ship comes to a sudden stop, and you are now in the Mycelial Realm. Now, before we get onto the specifics of looking for Sobek, your security and tactical officer, Lieutenant Gerkow, gets an alert on his console, which he then lets all of you know. Commander, everyone, I'm getting readings of some kind of life form attacking the outer hull. Millions of them. Billions of them. All small, tiny, boat-like creatures. They appear to be attaching onto our hull and attempting to dissolve it. Structural integrity is down 1.2%. And climbing. Can I get a reason and medicine from Dr. Sott, please? Can't think of any foci that apply. He's away from the chair, is he? Connie, do you want to take the reins of Dr. Sott for a moment then?
Yes. Control.
This can be reason and medicine, please.
Oh, reason and medicine.
2 successes. Okay.
Ooh.
Dr. Sott postulates that because your ship is, and its occupants, of course, is a non-mycelial life form in a realm composed of mycelial life forms, these small moat-like tiny biological organisms that are attacking the hull of the ship are probably doing so in order to, well, they're basically combating an invader, almost like a body's immune system. They're essentially trying to get rid of something that doesn't belong here. So it seems they're using some kind of biological process to render the ship's hull into energy. A tiny piece at a time. But because there are so damn many of them, they're just spreading across the hull in blotches now, and they're eating the hull as they go. So almost immediately you can start hearing a kind of like a groaning sound in the ship's structure as the structural integrity is starting to bulk. Garrow goes, structural integrity is now down by 1.8%, and there are more of these creatures attaching themselves to the hull, which means the amount of damage being done is growing exponentially. We don't have long. At which point, Ensign Ravalon, your communications officer, quickly notes, Commanders, I think I'm getting a message. There's something coming in over communication emergency channel. Captain Sobek. Transmitting. B11. Currently enhanced a mycelial construct. 35270. I am within biome atmosphere. I cannot have proceed. This is Sobek. Anyone that hear me? So, that certainly sounded like Captain Sobek. Unless, of course, that was a complete mess of sound that nobody could understand.
Yeah, I got some of the little bits.
Still get him.
Can we triangulate his coordinates from the comm he just sent out?
Sure. So, you know you are within a certain distance of the mycelial construct you wanted to find. How close in relativistic terms, of course, is a bit difficult to tell, but now that you've got a comm signal coming through, you've got something you can pinpoint. So anybody that wants to can give me a control and science check to try and use sensors to locate where he is, based upon that comm signal in any case. Any foci to do with communications or signal tracking or anything like that, like enciphering codes.
Probability. I mean, the
Probability of it. Yeah.
finding or translation. Yep. Yeah. I'm happy to try and do that check.
Are we all still? Is the 3 people still hooked up to the?
Well, that's technically yes, and you can deactivate it easy. It's not as if you're all thinking with one mind and you're just... The moment you rematerialized inside of the network, you didn't need to navigate it anymore, so the shared link and all the information traveling between you all ceased.
Okay.
So, you know, it gives you a moment to blink and go, oh, here we are, and turn off the link again, so that you can operate independently. So, yes, Connie, you can go ahead and do a scan for Sobek if you really wish. If. Oh, wow, jeez.
I was just about to say, Connie, do you want some help? But
absolutely
apparently
not.
Gerkow's got this.
Boom.
So, quickly working on the very high probability that he's within a certain radius based on the amount of power output of the signal, suggests that he's somewhere close enough that the signal's coming through, but far enough that there's interference. And that, aligned with the sensor information that Sot and Phlesc gained of trying to look for the mycelial construct, you pinpoint the transmission source to be within a few hundred meters of the ship's current position. It seems that Captain Sobek has somehow monkeyed with his EVA suit's communication system and has pretty much put it on a loop to activate like to act like an emergency beacon. So, yes, the situation now becomes one of choice. You can either go to find him, or you can get him to come to you, or a combination of. This is not without its risk, however, especially because we've now identified there are these not quite microscopic but very small life forms that are attacking the ship's hull, that attack anything that isn't not of their realm. So chances are anybody who goes out there, even in an EVA suit, is going to find themselves coming under attack by these microscopic life forms. Well, they're not microscopic, they're actually just teeny tiny mote-like life forms that are not only attacking the hull, they're probably going to start trying to attack the EVA suit of whoever goes out there, including Sot.
Do we want to try and find a way to repel them so we can keep the ship safe, and that whatever field we use to try and dissuade them, either by creating something that will make them think that we're part of the mycelial network, we've got loads of samples, or just a repelling field to push them away?
What do folks think?
Mycelial pheromone, because then we could put it on the EVA suits.
Yeah.
From Dr. Sot's earlier success, being able to repel them from the ship would be one thing, but anybody with any kind of focus in shields or deflector technology, Phlesc included, would probably have to point out that that field would have to be dropped for whoever's going out there and find Sobek to get out, because otherwise, you know, they're going to get hit by this repulsion field. Because if you wanted to work on a tiny life form, it might work on the tiny life forms inside of a major life form, so you might end up trying to expel your own gut bacteria or something. What I'm getting at is that field would need to be dropped for the rescue party to go out. It would need to be dropped again when the rescue party are coming back. Doing it on an individual basis, Dr. Sot reckons that with some of the samples that you've taken of myconids from the mycelial construct, you could maybe fool these things for a little bit, but chances are they will figure out that you are, you know, that there's a non-mycelial molecule present in the network, and they're probably going to attack it either way. No problem, Connie? So you could buy yourself some time, certainly, but in all likelihood, these tiny organisms are going to do what they do best, which is attack an invader. So it's certainly an option. I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just saying that there are pros and cons. So what would you like to do? And again, the idea comes down to, is someone going after Sobek? Because then you'd have to go all the way out, grab him, and come all the way back. Are you getting Sobek to come to you, or are you trying to meet in the middle? What you doing?
I think it'd be safe for us to try and go get him. But if
Okay.
we do something with the ship, it'll give us more time so that it makes it safe. Or whether
Okay.
that means we send the rescue party out first, or someone stays to prepare the ship.
Okay. Alright then. So, next question. Who is going out to save Sobek? I can think of at least one person who feels compelled to go out and save Sobek. Avish?
Yes. I was gonna pipe up if nobody else was going to do it. Tavish will feel massively responsible. Still feels massively responsible. So yeah, she'll go out. She'll risk
Alright.
her life
We'll-
to save Sobex.
Yarrow, in case we need to carry him.
Yep. Anyone going out will need EVA suits, of course. Let's just check that Garrow's still got one. Yes, he does. Tavish has still
Yep.
got one. Yep, cool. Anybody else going out to fetch the captain?
One of the beta's voids for empath scanning.
Okay, do you want it to be Nurse Uro or Councillor Sachs? If Councillor Sachs gets involved, of course, that means you can actually improve her statistics.
Okay,
Advance her character. That's what I was trying to look for.
I think that's a good idea.
Right, in which case, I'm going to mark off use of a supporting character from your available list. You are using Garrow, you are using Councillor Sachs. You have... Did we use Ensign Aversion earlier? Or did we not?
I think we did.
We
Think
did.
Yeah. And we've used Zonvagor and we've used Nurse Uro, haven't we? Ooh, so this is it. That's the maximum amount of supporting characters you can use. Ooh. Okay. So yes, Councillor Sachs and Lieutenant Garrow are going out to help Lieutenant Tavish find the captain. So obviously Bonnet can stay near the helm in order to make sure that someone's got their finger ready on the ignition key to get this thing going as fast as possible. Gerkow can probably help guide folks, unless Gerkow's going to get the captain as well. Connie isn't back yet, so we'll leave that to her. Phlesc, though, being the one who has a specialty in deflector field technology, probably needs to be the one to stay back and modify,
Yeah.
activate,
I was
and turn off said shield.
Yep. So Phlesc was going to stay to make sure that the ship doesn't get eaten by mushroom spores.
Okay, so I will say that you probably need to work in concert with Dr. Sott to get the right kind of repulsion field resonance going, so that you don't harm these creatures as much as you do just repel them. So this is going to be a reason and medicine from Dr. Sott on 1 dice, added to a control and engineering 2 dice with deflector fields as a focus for Phlesc. Ooh, and it's just as well Phlesc was doing this.
Yep. Parent figure. And hello.
Oh, crikey, that's a close one. All right. So, even though Dr. Sott's a case of, well, I've never actually worked on a deflector field that's supposed to repel biological life forms before, so maybe just do this. At which point Phlesc is like, yeah, sure, you can do that if you want to destroy the ship and everyone on it. Maybe we'll just go with a light kind of resonance field to just keep them back. So you're essentially using the main deflector dish to set up this kind of barrier of vibration. You're just vibrating air molecules to push things back so that you're not actually hurting them, you're just creating like a solid wall of... Actually, you could probably vent a lot of the kinetic force from the capacitor. There we are. We're already finding uses for this thing. Nice. Alright, so with a deflector-type repulsion field, which will buy you some time, certainly, but it won't last forever. Now we need to... well, you need the rescue team to go get the captain.
Would it be faster for the rescue team to go pick up the captain in a shuttle?
Now that's a question. Because the shuttle is
Need for
likewise... Yes, there's that. That's a good point, actually. A shuttle could be employed, but the shuttle is going to suffer the same attack as everything else that goes out there. You're going to have to drop this shield in order to let the shuttle escape for a moment, and that means the shuttle bay... Yeah, the shuttle bay door's got a force field on it, so you should be alright. Okay, so yes, there's an option. Do you want to employ a shuttle instead of going off on foot?
Need for speed. Need for speed.
Bonnet wants to be out of here very, very quickly. So what do you think then? On foot or on shuttle?
Do you guys want to take pattern enhancers with you in case we need to?
The only downside I can see of shuttle, even though it's faster, you're going to be dodging a hell of a lot more, and you don't necessarily have the space to land.
Alright, without the shuttle, then.
You sure?
Yes, we get that.
Okay.
I feel like if we get there, I honestly, your points there, like we're gonna have to be dodging and stuff like that a lot more. I mean, it is safer though.
I'm back.
And you got a lovely helm officer that's safe.
Connie, you were going to say?
I just had a thought. Can we just throw out some bait or a diversion, some kind of lure for these not microscopic beings to focus on while we extract the captain?
It would have to be something big, and therefore higher priority, and definitely register as something alien to the environment. Like, for instance, a shuttle.
Okay, then.
A distraction shuttle. I was just saying that should the away team take pattern enhancers if we need to beam them in a hurry? Because that'll get through the interference.
Good point. Is that a yay on pattern enhancers or a nay?
How are they gonna work?
Well, it couldn't... you don't know. You've never tried transporting in the Mycelial Realm before with all this ambient mycelial energy.
They won't hurt our chances, they'll improve them. They won't necessarily
How
work.
do you know? We do not know if they are going to work or not.
Well,
This is Tavish. I'm getting the impression that Tavish is kind of all antsy and anxious at the moment.
It's very much a, you know, we haven't even tried to transport anything in Mycelial Realm. I can't even say the
That's
word. Whatever.
Mushroom Land.
Mushroom Land.
Mushroom Kingdom.
We haven't tried to transport anything, and we have no idea if, transporting in this realm is first going to work, and second isn't going to have a detrimental effect to our teleporter patterns.
Interesting. I mean, there are biofilters in the transporter buffer that try and filter out things it doesn't recognize.
That is true.
Like has been pointed out, you've never tried transporting inside of the Mycelial Realm before, and it is a realm made up entirely of, mushroom life forms.
Yeah, it was more of a just in case rather than a.
Yep, so they couldn't hurt. I mean, pattern enhancers might make it easier to lock onto a pattern.
All right, I'll take.
Okay.
I'll take him.
You know where to find them, I take it?
Hold on. I think I remember.
Items.
Suitcase.
Yes, the suitcase. Go for the suitcase.
Think of like emergency beacons that may be able to transport.
Tools and portable items. Engineering devices.
Other equipment.
I'm not going to ask for an opportunity cost because it makes sense that you would want to take these devices at this particular point.
Okey-dokey. Okay, are we taking the shuttle then?
Well, if you're going to use it as a distraction, you may as well use it to get there quickly.
Okey-dokey.
Okay. Alright then.
Now the question: do we want to be able to recover said shuttle?
Good question. Yes, a very good question. Because you're basically going to let it be attacked by the microbial life forms. So you're going to drive it there, just abandon it in a heap, or you're going to keep it flying around so that it's making a big show of itself. Which means that whoever's going to be in there piloting it is going to be put in reasonable danger, but then anybody going out into the Mycelial Realm at the moment is going to be within reasonable danger anyhow, so...
Because we're out of basket. It's because need for speed.
Let's go with it. Enough talk, let's just do this.
I just want to be able to use Fast and Furious.
Vroom vroom. Alright then, so Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang is like, let's just do this. We gotta do this, otherwise we're going to be debating all day about it. So you've got EVA suits on, including Bonnet actually, just in case things go badly. So if Bonnet could find herself some character armor, environment suit, that would be advisable, just in case the shuttle goes a bit wrong, which is a good point. I should find a shuttle. Where are the ships? There's Shutty. Are we sacrificing Shutty the shuttle or one of your regular Type 9s?
Type 9.
Type 9.
So, it's got to be a Type 9.
I say that because, one, the con's a lot better.
Good point.
The con's better on a Type 9.
Yes. Okay, it's going to be a tight squeeze going in the Type 9s. They're mostly one crew and 2 passenger type jobs, so this is going to be a bit of a squeeze. It's not impossible, it just means everyone's going to be standing shoulder to shoulder, and the pilot's going to need all of his space to do the stuff with. So, okay.
Question: Does Bonnet? Will we be using rolls on the shuttle?
In what respect?
To get there.
Will
we have to use the con on the shuttle?
Well, I'm going to ask for Liz to give us a contest, yes, to see how well you can get there without crashing into things. In order to get you the best landing possible, so that you can be as close as you can to the mycelial construct.
Would this count as an evasion action to dodge stuff?
Yeah.
Sweet, hands-on piloting.
Groovy.
Which
All
the
right.
focus range of the shuttle is doubled.
Okie dokie. In which case then, let's do the shuttle now. Sorry. The focus range of the shuttle wasn't that great. Why did I close that? Doubling its con range made it up to 4 rather than 2, and I rolled a 10, so anyway, it's all down to Bonnet's piloting. So control and con, if you please.
Alright.
Ooh, yeah! Alright then. With some incredible piloting, and everyone who's on the away team, so even if it's just the 3 people, Gerkow, Tavish and Sax, all in their somewhat bulky environment suits, you kind of stood almost shoulder to shoulder near the exit hatch and underneath the transporter. So you're feeling the full torque of, even though you've got your boots magnetically locked to the floor, you're still feeling the torsion of the G's as Bonnet pulls the shuttle round in some rather aggressive maneuvers that goes under and through a few larger clumps of mycelial mushrooms. But you zero in on the mycelial construct itself and see the full glory of it right in front of you. And so Bonnet is able to put you down pretty much on top of it with that roll. But of course now you've got the action of trying to locate the captain in probably one of the biomes. Councillor Sax can be used to try and pinpoint him if you wish. In which case, let's get... Chris, if you could be Councillor Sax for me, please.
Certainly.
One of your fellow medical personnel. If I could get you to give me an insight and medicine check with her empathy.
Cool.
Focus. Try and use her empathic sense to locate the cap. Oh, well. God, you guys are killing it. Alright, she locates him in one of the mid biomes. The same biome that Tavish can identify as being the one of the first biomes you actually entered. So it's one that's got breathable atmosphere. There's none of these microbial creatures there that are trying to break him down. He's sat there and he's now aware of your presence, thanks to Vulcans being somewhat telepathic themselves. So the mere fact of Councillor Sax reaching out and touching his mind means that the captain is now aware of your presence. So you can either try and transport down, or you can try and physically enter the mycelial construct yourself. What would you like to do? Beam down or walk? There are advantages and disadvantages to both.
Beam, right?
Just beam? Well, exactly. Yam, 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 yam. Alright.
There's someone in the background. Don't mind her.
Can I get... well, I suppose it's Tavish then. Can I get Tavish to give me control and engineering aided by sensors and engineering of the shuttle? To beam you down. The shuttle actually gets a success, so you've got
What do we want?
control and
Reason.
engineering, please,
Control and engineering.
to use the transporter system on the shuttle.
No focus, because I've got transporter stuff.
Just go for it. Yep, you've already got one success, so
Is it 2 or 1?
2 dice from you, please. Very good, very good. So you pinpoint an area near the captain, so yeah, you all transport in. So as soon as these guys beam off, that's when Bonnet is going to have to start pulling some interesting maneuvers. Right, that's not the right place. We actually want mycelial construct. Where is it? I think it's this one.
And I am torn
Yes.
between a true pilot trusts their instincts to do craziness or Fast and Furious. Make it harder.
Up to you. Nevertheless, Garrow and Tavish and Sack successfully beam down and find themselves in one of the first biomes that they visited, or that the first away team visited when they were here. So it's lots of exotic-looking mushrooms and lots of twinkling, bright spores. Captain Sobek gets up from where he was sitting, and you find he's wearing pretty much the remnants of his environment suit. He's apparently pulled it apart. The main power pack and the helmet have been jury-rigged, probably to create his emergency distress beacon. So he's left with essentially an unpowered EVA suit. He's got the remnants of the suit pretty much over himself as extra padding, I suppose, but the thing itself is no longer proof against against the outside. So, you found me. Congratulations, I didn't even think it was possible. The only logical conclusion I can come to is that you must have created your own means of entering the Mycelial Realm.
Yes, sir.
You do realize that we are going to have to explain that to Starfleet.
Yes, sir.
However, I would be at this point entirely hypocritical if I were to bring you up on any admonishment in this regard, since you have come to rescue me, and I am extraordinarily grateful. Therefore, can I assume that at this moment in time the Combs is in the mycelial network?
Yes, sir.
Then I can only assume that it is currently being attacked by the USS.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, we need to make haste as soon as possible.
Yes, sir.
Very well. I am ready to go when you are.
We're going to. She looks at the. Looks at Sobek with his environmental suit. I'm kind of happy I listened to Phlesc now, seeing as your environmental suit is not working. Well, it's probably not going to work properly.
I would agree. I was rather thorough in my dismantling of the suit.
Yes. And it may take too long trying to jury rig your suit. So I do have these pattern enhancers, though we haven't tried to beam.
Then this will be an attempt for science,
Yes, sir.
as well as rescue. So, let us quickly shunt things back to the deck 1, because we need... first we need Bonnet to do some... Well, were you trying to make things difficult for yourself to regain a momentum? Determination?
Possibly.
I'll take that as a yes. Okay, so we're going with Bonnet's impatience to get things done and be out here free and all of that stuff in the shuttle at last means that she is performing lots of silly maneuvers in order to get the microbial life forms, apparently according to Sobek, called the USS, to get you some attention. So I am going to ask you to give me a control and con attempt, but I am going to... I'm going to up the complication range for this, and I'm also going to make it harder because you're deliberately doing silly stuff with the joystick. So I am going to award you with a point of determination back, but nothing that you can use for this particular check. I want to see whether or not you actually crash the shuttle or damage the shuttle in some way. Now, in order to become a diversion for the microbial life forms, you have had to have the shields off, which means they are attacking the shuttle's structural integrity, which means that the shuttle suffers a single breach to its structure. And it is... Yes. Oh, it highlights it in red. Awesome. The shuttle is only a Scale 1 craft, so... What happens when you take a breach? Which means we are going to have a look. Excuse me, folks, who are watching the stream. You just saw the screen go blank. I do beg your pardon. It'll come back in a moment. I just have to get the second edition rules up to confirm what I believe. If I can find it. There it is. Let's bring this back up. So,
I regret nothing.
I regret nothing too. It's a funny coincidence. Let's see. Starship combat. Where did it go? Dangers of space. Starship creation. Conflict. Starship conflict. Spadoop. So, movement and terrain, minor actions. We want breaches. Breaches. Right, damage and repairs. When a vessel is hit, you've taken a breach. So, resolve the attack. A system has been hit. Structure has taken damage. That's if it takes hit on the shields. If the shields are down, the ship suffers a breach. A breach is a trait that represents serious damage to the ship. As a negative trait, it is used to increase the difficulty of tasks attempted to make things impossible. If a single system on your ship suffers a number of breaches equal to greater than half the ship's scale, it is destroyed. When a system has been destroyed, any task that would be assisted by it automatically fails. When your ship suffers a number of breaches greater than the ship's scale, you've suffered critical damage and the ship can no longer function. Alright, so you've done your job, and the ship is taking damage from the microbial life forms. You now need to perform a control and con check with no assistance from the ship. I'm going to increase the complication range by 1, so remember to note that. And the difficulty is now going to be 3. Alright. Okay then, in that case... with the shuttle's structural integrity failing rapidly as the microbial life forms start eating into it, parts of it start coming away, deliberately making a show of it. Bonnet unfortunately manages to smack one of the nacelles into a very large mushroom tree, and as such damages the shuttle, in which case we take a bit of collision damage. So, a ship's collision damage rating is equal to the ship's scale, plus half the zones moved before the collision. Let's say 1. 1 means 2. It has a devastating... Oops, indeed. Which means that the ship comes to a sudden and abrupt stop. as it basically falls out of the sky and you make a crash landing. With no shields left and everything like that. That means you have taken another bit of damage, which means that the ship is essentially now destroyed. The shuttle can't be used. So Bonnet is in an environment suit. You are going to have to physically meet up with the rest of the away team, the rescue team, as she's running up. And yeah. Okay, so good news, the microbial life forms have taken the bait. Bad news, the shuttle's out. So Captain Sobek is like, well, we have two choices. We can either try and physically make a run for the ship, which means that we will be subjected to the predations of the Jasep, or we can use these pattern enhancers that you have gotten and hope that the combs can beam us aboard.
With your environmental suit the way it is, sir, I think the pattern enhancers would be more ideal.
Very well. We will have to open a communication line to the combs. In order to do that, you're going to have to penetrate the interference. So I am going to ask... Let's see, who's the best for this? What do we use for communications usually? It's control and science, so whoever's got the highest control and science...
Up to me.
Sobek has got control 11, science 4. Bonnet has got 11, 4 as well, actually, so Bonnet could give it a try.
I've got 12, 4.
12, 4, well, there again, Tavish could try it, aided by Bonnet, by the sounds of it.
Would it be a madness if, to
Oh.
boost the signal, we have Councillor Sachs telepathically patch it into Nurse Uro?
You could go that way and try and get the combs and the bigger ship to try and beam you in, yes, because then you'd be able to use Zonvagor. And Phlesc, now I think about it. Aided by the ship.
That
So-
sounds good.
Yeah, that actually sounds cool. You could get Councillor Sachs to project an telepathic message back to the ship. Alright, we'll go with that.
How
Especially-
badly damaged is the shuttle again?
Oh, it's totaled. It's currently being
Oops.
devoured by the Jasep. So there are like chunks of holes in it, and chunks missing. There are holes that have been eaten on it, and because you crash landed, unfortunately bits of it are now bent and broken and are just being eagerly devoured by the microbial life forms. Nevertheless, with an empathic communication to her fellow Betazoid, Nurse Uro lets everybody know that Councillor Sachs is telling everybody who's still aboard the combs that they would like to beam out now, please. The shuttle is no longer an option. So we have our Chief Transport Officer, which is a good point. He needs a roll, doesn't he? He needs a roll benefit. Chief Medical Officer, Chief Executive Officer, Operations, Translator. Where is...
It is there. It is there.
I can't see it. Bodyguard, Chief Engineer, Medical Officer, Chief of Security, Tactical Officer, Commanding Officer, Communications Officer, Counselor, Executive Officer, Expert, Flight Controller, Intelligence, Navigator, Operations, Political Science, Doctor and Translator. I don't see Chief of... I do not see Chief
there was.
Chief Transport Officer. I thought there was too. You should expect it to be there.
Any way you could possibly kick me out of
Already have.
counter? Okay. It's not showing up on my end. But
Give it a moment or two. It might not recognize that you're out. Nevertheless, let us go with... we're gonna be having... Probably... Ooh. I mean, since she suggested it, Connie can go as Zonvagor. Mark as Phlesc, and Chris, can we get you as the Combs? You know how to find the Combs? Or is Chris not available right now? Chris isn't available right now. Oh, no, there you are.
No, this is Mark. I think Chris isn't online at the moment, is he?
Okay. In that case... Is he not? No, there you are.
he
It's a
is.
Crisp.
Oh, there he is. Oh, shut up.
Just not hearing anything from him at the moment.
By the dog.
It's okay. In that case, can we get Dave to be Phlesc? Not Phlesc.
I just came back. Sorry.
Oh, never
My,
mind. Never mind.
Delivery just showed up. How can I help?
I need you to be the Combs.
Cool. Bear me a second.
Bearing with you.
Thank you.
What am I rolling as
shit.
Phlesc?
Phlesc, you are rolling control and engineering with any focus to do with transporters.
Which I have. And one
Chief
dice.
And the
Zonvagor is
same
the same, yes.
for-
And for the ship, we're going to go with sensors and engineering, please.
Cool.
I am going to have the complication range go up. Ooh, I didn't need to.
Parent figure. Parent figure. Ooh.
Alright. Phlesc is in there. Zonvagor rolls 2 then, it seems. Hail to our
Whoa!
Chief Transport Officer.
Don't
Boom.
fuck
He has not
off!
missed.
Yes, I think we all need to declare his name like Dave just did. 1, 2, 3.
Zonvagor!
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 A custom sound, and
Custom.
you get a dice.
Oh dear. Zonvagor is supreme, Zonvagor rules all. Okay, nice. So that means those pattern enhancers plus the pure talent of Lieutenant Commander Phlesc and Transporter Chief Zonvagor means that you successfully beam the rescue team aboard. With no side effects. It seems that the ship's transport buffer is able to, the biofilter is able to filter out mycelial life forms as well, so it didn't bring in any unwelcome visitors. But your ship is still suffering attacks from these microbial life forms. You've got maybe 10 minutes before structural integrity starts to definitely fail. Those crew members who are near to the outer hull are having to be evacuated away. Which means that this just got a little bit more complicated, because going back into space with holes in your ship's skin means that it's going to need some emergency measures to keep the structural integrity, and not to mention the atmosphere, intact, so that you don't subject parts of the ship to zero, not zero gravity. Vacuum.
Yep, if I can get an assist on repair, so we can get out of here.
Anybody who
Just
wants to
one moment.
assist with structural repair?
Because I can then spend momentum to fix those breach
Okay.
holes.
You do have a Ensign Shiara, who's got maintenance specialist.
You've run out of supporting characters
Oh,
you can
okay.
field, though, I'm afraid. So you've got Zonvagor, you've got Chief Uro, you've got Garrow, Councillor Sachs, and we've used Malcolm Aversion 2.
Avish, let's do a quick engineering job to fix up the ship.
Cool in the gang. Let's see, it was when you do succeed at the damage control major action. Which, let's get our little reference document up. So, engineer... Oh, it's internal systems, isn't it? Damage control, that's presence and engineering.
Presence and engineering? No problem.
As you direct engineering teams to their proper places. can someone share the screen for Liz, please?
Anyone doing it? Because I can just do that now.
Sounds like it's up to you, my dude. There we go. Oh, no, Dave has done it.
Dave's on it. Cool. Okay, so presence and engineering with a focus. Come on.
The difficulty of this is 2.
Got it.
Got it. And then some. Oh, say, okay, so damage control teams are being sent to the areas where there are hull breaches, which means both emergency force fields and blast doors are being closed in order to keep the structural integrity of the ship and not expose too much of it to vacuum. Folks that aren't to do with repair teams have been told to evacuate away from the outer skin of the ship. So this thing's about as good as it's ever going to get. It's time to jump back into the Mycelial Realm.
Out of the Mycelial Realm, do you mean?
Out of the Mycelial Realm, yes, pardon me. Good point, thank you for correcting.
Yep. That was all I needed, apparently, because the second he started streaming, they're like, yeah, you can come back in now.
Okay.
Alright then.
Stop.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dave.
Alright.
That was all we needed. Alright then. So this is it, now we need to get out.
I'm gonna tell both Bonnet and Gerkow. Where's the captain?
I'm bringing back now, give me 1 second.
All phases complete.
Good to be back.
To stick with what they're doing, Tavish is gonna be the trio by herself.
Alright then.
I'm going to use her determination to do that stuff.
So if I'm reading this right, Tavish is activating the Spore drive herself?
Is it the Spore drive? The navigation thing to get us out?
Alright then, so that's going to be a bit of some, more of others. So from Tavish we are looking for control and engineering, from Gerkow we're looking for control and science for probabilities, and from Bonnet we are looking for control and navigation to pilot everybody out. Phlesc has already put engineering teams on trying to keep everything together. As far as Dr. Sot goes, well, you're going to be monitoring the neural link that's going on here, so any complications that occur, and since you are looking to get out of this place as quickly as possible, any complications that occur are going to see those 3 linked up to the computer system suffer the usual neural link disadvantage.
Right, there. I'm going to use a determination.
Alrighty. Remember to note in your log that you have used this determination. You've used a value.
I don't know which one I'm using.
Better come up with it now.
Oh yeah, did I have to log that I used the A value to it ended up crashing the shuttle?
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Make a note that you make things difficult for yourself with a value.
Okay,
I'm also going to use this.
Is it still the same star date?
The star date is like 1 day different from the last one, which means that we are at, if I can just find it as a session. So the last star date you should have been given was, what is it? 50044.5.
Oh, I got 0.3. Oops.
0.3? Well, that's today's. 50047.3. So that's the rescue mission.
Okay, yeah, because that's when I started, because that was the first time I used, if it ain't broke, fix it. Okay.
Yeah. So that was whilst you were on the mission to find the tardigrades and you investigated the mycelial construct. That was 50044.5. Episode 8. No, it's episode 20, isn't it? Bridge to everywhere. We are on 20 and a half. Search for Sobek. 1 day later. 50047.3. Okay, with all that out of the way, let's roll these dice. Like I said, control and engineering for Tavish, control and science for Gerkow, control and con for Bonnet. Whoever wants to lead can lead, otherwise other folks roll 1 dice.
I'll lead.
Due to the nature of this neural link, I won't be asking for momentum to allow more than one person to aid, because that's the reason why you put it together. Alrighty, 1 success from Gerkow, using probability to calculate the path out. Liz, I think Bonnet is assisting as well.
Sorry, I was busy typing.
Okay, cool.
Oh. Am I using a dedicated focus? I am, aren't I? I'm using a determination.
Yes, so remember to roll 1 less dice.
Doesn't your ability... You select 2 benefits of spending a point of determination instead of 1, so you're rolling 2 determination dice?
No, you're still rolling only 1 determination dice, you're just getting the benefit of it twice.
Ah, I got you.
It's not a dedicated focus, is it? Using the...
No,
Cochrane Medal of Excellence? No, you're not dedicated focus.
Okey-dokey.
Alright then, 4 successes in total, which means that you start up the Spore drive, and everything goes without a hitch, and you smash back into the mycelial network, guiding yourself out to reappear. Well, that becomes an interesting question. Do you just want to reappear back at where you started, within the Midnight Cloud? Or, now that you've got access to the entire mycelial network, do you want to appear somewhere else? Because let's face it, your ship needs some TLC, there's holes in it.
I'll leave that up to the crew.
Okay. Where would you like the ship to reappear?
I guess somewhere close to a station or some repairing dock, and Sobek probably needs to see, well, besides Dr. Sotz, some medical professionals.
Yes, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
In that case, I mean, within friendly space, within the United Federation of Planets?
That would be preferable. I don't think we want to go to, like, Kronos.
No. Especially not during this time. So, well, you've got your pick, really. I mean, do you want to be a bit further out, or do you want to appear in the safe middle? You can go for Vulcan, Andoria.
Let's show up back at Earth.
Earth? Yeah. You've got Bolia.
I mean, what about where we started from?
Where you started from, yeah, is the Midnight Cloud, which is all the way in near the closest starbase there is Starbase 47, known as Vanguard, which is way outside of regular Federation space. But there's Starbase Alkali, closer, which is actually in Federation space, and that's not far. That's a system not far from Bolia, actually. Bolian space, so, Dr. Sott's family.
Yeah,
wouldn't the shorter the jump be, the safer?
Good point, yes. The shorter the jump, the less massive mathematics you have to deal with. But due to all those very successful rolls there, I'm more than happy for you to turn up pretty much wherever.
That's why it'd be funny if we just showed up at Earth.
Yeah.
Ta-da! Hi guys.
Yes, this ship just turns up out of nowhere, but thankfully it's one of theirs, and it's got several holes in it, like something's chewed bits of it off. So, just because it's funny, shall we say Earth?
Yeah, and we know Earth will have plenty of shipyards to repair.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right then.
Just for fun.
In that case, yeah. The ship reappears over Earth space, and of course, the first thing that happens is a very surprised number of communications come flooding in, asking, "Who are you? Where did you come from?" And of course, it takes a couple of moments for the Earth defenses to basically power down and realize that the transponder signal that they're getting is that of a Starfleet ship, specifically yours. So there's a bit of a tense moment of basically air traffic or space traffic control, I should say, around Earth, going, "What? Where'd you come from?"
And I think the whole time Bonnie's like busy laughing because this is just funny for her.
You basically went boo and made everybody jump out of their seats. But thankfully, yes, you've got Starbase 1 in orbit, and you've got the shipyards, the Earth shipyards that you can get the combs towed to. Needless to say, however, it doesn't take very, very long before you get an urgent high-level communication from Admiral Pressman, who is basically demanding to know what the hell you're doing, turning up out of nowhere, obviously using a classified propulsion drive that he gave you no permission whatsoever of to actually even read about, let alone implement. So, well, you've basically announced the presence of this classified project to every single... Well, let's face it, Earth is the center of government for the Federation, so all of the media are now very much aware that a Federation ship just blipped into existence. So Pressman is now going to have to deal with having to Pressman and Starfleet Intelligence are going to have to now redirect attention away from it and come up with some kind of lie, essentially, so that every polity in the galaxy doesn't know about what should have been the very, very, very secret, highly classified propulsion system.
But we didn't read that. We made it because we did all the studying in the Mycelial network. We managed to create our own.
So,
Hope we
needless...
didn't hack anything.
Just acted.
Yeah.
We are a science vessel. We science really good.
We scienced. I like how science now
science.
verb.
Science rules.
So, congratulations, you've managed to successfully rescue your captain, and you got out of the Mycelial Realm without much in the way of calamity. Diplomatically, this has become rather an interesting spectacle, and needless to say, you guys are gonna... the senior bridge officers are going to get a major chewing out from Admiral Pressman. But I am going to definitely say, Gerkow, your stick-it-to-the-man value means that you feel no small amount of satisfaction at this. So I would very much like you, at some point in the next minute or two, Connie, to make a note that your value stick-it-to-the-man has definitely come to the fore here. Because you have basically thumbed your nose at the entirety of Starfleet intelligence, as well as the man who made you disillusioned with authority in the first place. So this is no small amount of satisfaction Gerkow is getting out of this. Now, the fact that Bonnet is also getting no small amount of satisfaction out of this as well should be noted. Now, what value?
If it wasn't broke, improve it anyways.
Maybe, yeah, I'll go with that. This is, let's be fair, pretty much everybody's going to get in trouble here in some fashion with intelligence, the intelligence service. And as a result, there's probably going to be some blowback from the Admiralty. But that being said, the Admiralty will come back with, well, yes, Admiral Pressman, they did disobey orders, but what is this displacement-activated Spore hub drive, and why didn't you tell us about it? Because if we'd have known about this thing, we could have helped you, and this would actually help in our current dilemma against the Klingons, not to mention the Dominion. But then, of course, there's the back. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth in the Admiralty and the upper levels of Starfleet at the moment. So you've caused no small amount of, shall we say, ripples.
Can I do something?
Sure.
Can I put an encryption on pretty much everything we've done so far?
To what end?
To not give absolutely everything to Starfleet intelligence.
Oof. Because as part of standard procedure, you're required to submit your mission logs on a regular basis. So
I don't mind that. I just want to all the stuff we've made to have encryptions.
And you don't want to be giving it to intelligence, is what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't want that Admiral to know exactly how we've done it. I want me and Nilo to literally come up with a encryption which is pretty much unhackable.
Ooh. All right then. In that case,
hiding
go on.
The whole thing, or are we just
Not-
hiding
not- So there's gonna be like not all this. There's some schematics, but there's not enough to recreate.
Enough
what
to
we've
give
done.
them proof that you got bits working, but not so much that you can show them exactly everything that you did.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It'll be the first time the intelligence agency is getting a redacted form.
This is what we call irony.
So it's we can still use the cover story that we built it from scratch thanks to Niall's scan of the mycelial
Construct.
mushroom.
Ooh, yes. Yeah. Nice. Yes, so that falls back on what you said before, which gives it validity. I like. All right. I am going to say that this is going to have a lot of political fallout. Needless to say, the Admiralty and Intelligence have never always gotten along, so this has now opened up kind of a fresh rift, as it were, because now the Admiralty and fleet operations are going to be asking Intelligence, well, what else have you been holding back? As a result of this, I am going to give the entire senior Combs crew an antipathy towards Admiral Eric Pressman. You are not in his good books anymore. Whether this will have any direct fallout as a result of intelligence also not favourably looking on the Combs, especially when they find out that some of your files are encrypted, they are going to probably request that you decrypt them by giving, authorization from, we're Starfleet Intelligence. Decrypt these, please.
Sorry, can't do that.
When you don't, the advantage you guys have got is that... Who have you got? How many people have got favour with some interesting high-level characters?
This was Hopkins?
If it was Hopkins, you'd have Picard. Now, unfortunately, Phlesc has got Admiral Stoker. Well,
Not that useful.
I've got...
You've got Captain Sobek, but...
I've got Dr. Taliaferro.
You got Taliaferro, that's a good point.
I've got Lieutenant. Oh no, he's a Klingon.
Hmm. What about Gerkow? No, Gerkow
Oh,
hasn't got favour with
I've
anybody.
got Commander Nemrion,
Gerkow's got
CMO
no
of.
friends.
Oh,
Okay. I mean, obviously you've got Admiral Hebert in your corner as well.
oh, I've got Lieutenant.
Sharessa, yeah.
Yeah, who is the person.
Admiral, Admiral's the
yeah.
Admiral Hebert's assistant. So you've got that going
Yeah.
for you too. So you've got one or two friends in influence, in places of influence, but not a huge amount. So whether this will have any political fallback on you, we will have to discover later. However, you successfully rescued your captain from the Mycelial Realm and created a new propulsion system. Whether you get to keep it, well, you have to keep it because you've got the only working prototype and you're the only ones currently with the... Because you've encrypted your records, you've got the only ones who can possibly use it, therefore know how to use it. So, yes. Interesting. Sorry, not sorry. Yes, exactly. Yeah, right. Interesting. I will, in order to start bringing this to a close now, I will say that usually if you want to add a second propulsion system to a ship, you usually need another ship talent, another starship talent. Is it additional or is it secondary? Because they have changed a few. Was it extra propulsion system? Nope. Is it additional propulsion system? No. Is it secondary propulsion system? No. They have taken those away. So there's every possibility that if you wanted to keep this additional propulsion system, if somebody is up for using one of their character arcs or milestones or whatever to add an additional talent to the ship, you could keep this additional propulsion system and therefore refine it so it's not so hodgepodge. But that's up for you guys to decide at a later point. I leave that for you to have maybe a discussion about. And figure if you want to do that. Give your ship... Otherwise, I will consider the Spore Hub drive as kind of like a secondary thing that you can break out of storage if an emergency situation occurs, kind of thing. If you wanted to make it a more permanent thing, maybe we could fancy making it an actual talent. But for the meantime, like I said, I will leave that to whether or not you guys want to do that. You can just debate amongst yourselves. In the meantime, this is the end of our episode, so well done, folks. That was very spectacular. You've got your captain back, so everything's right with the world. Next time, however, will be our Halloween episode, our spooky episode. So that's going to be for the 27th, if everybody's available.
I will not be here.
You will not be here. No, Dave.
No, I will be in a field.
As you do.
Oh, okay.
A non-specific field.
Yeah.
Would everyone be here on the 3rd? Because we could always just transfer to the 3rd, since it's closer to Halloween.
That is a good point. It would be closer to Halloween, so we'd rather postpone it until the 3rd.
Dave?
I'm free on the 3rd.
Okay, so
Yeah.
in that case, we're going to take a 2-week break then, so that we come back on the 3rd, and that will be our Halloween episode. And after that,
Who's running the holodeck this time?
well, that remains to be seen. But the episode after that, I fancy. Ooh, do we do that one? Yeah, we'll be back to the Combs again, and then the episode after that will be back with the Dokabach crew. our Klingon crew. So, yeah. In any case, thank you very much to those who watched. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we appear to enjoy playing it. And for those who tuned in on YouTube, consider giving us a like, because it helps not only ourselves but also everybody else who does actual plays and Star Trek related stuff. In the meantime, we ask you to do like the Vulcans do, which is to live long and prosper. Find a way of surviving in other places you're lost in, because you never know, your friends might actually turn up to help you at an unexpected time. And also to engage in infinite diversity in infinite combinations. This world is still a very, very crazy, chaotic place at the moment, so make sure you treat each other with kindness and respect, because, blimey, it's nuts out there at the moment. In the meantime, we will take a short break, and then we will see you for Halloween episode. So, in the meantime, thank you very much, folks. Hailing frequencies are now closed.